to talk.
You want to talk?
You're listening to Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday, the official podcast of Black Fawn Distribution, broadcasting live across the planet and retransmitted on all major streaming platforms. Tonight's program is brought to you in part by Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course Canada's #1 genre film company, Black Fawn Distribution. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't make it, so here's what you get.
It's really not that bad.
You are going to hell.
Here's your host, Benner from Black Fawn Distro.
Hey, everyone. How's it going? I'm Benner from Black Fawn Distro, and welcome back to Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday, our interview series, what used to be our flagship show, which is still our flagship show. But we are back after a long hiatus. And of course, I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my partner in crime, whatever other tags you want to give yourself, Kells McNells, to my, I guess it's my left. The audience is right. Kells, how you doing? Welcome back to Takeover Tuesday, complete with dog, I hear.
Yeah, she is upset about something. I don't know what it is, but she's upset about it.
Awesome.
I am doing good, my friend. It's been a long road getting from there to here, as Starship Enters would say. Is that
what? Who's saying that?
It's the theme song of a Star Trek show. I don't know. Anyways, I get it stuck in my head a lot, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, we're back and talking about horror, which is what we are always here to do.
Guys, it sounds like you want to talk about Star Trek. That's what it sounds like. But listen, let's give the audience a rundown of what's been going on. This was our flagship show, and say that 3 times fast. I guess we'll see how good of how rusty I am at this tonight. But we started up a bunch of other shows. We started up 90s Night. You have a very successful mini show going on, Streams and Screams, which everyone can check out on our YouTube. And of course, we're broadcasting. We used to broadcast live to Facebook. Let me see, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and what's the other one? Oh, yeah. Well, Twitter's now X. That's how long we've been off the air on the show. But I still call it Twitter because everyone calls it X, formerly known as Twitter. So I just shorten that up. So it's still Twitter to me. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. That's what we're broadcasting live to. And of course, our YouTube channel kind of took off over the last year, and we putting a lot of time and effort into programming that out. And of course, we started up 90s Night as well, which is the show that myself and Kells co-host, where we take a deep dive back into our favorite 90s films from that awesome and weird and crazy and super cool and now retro decade. So check that out on YouTube. Now, we got we had this in the works. We were going to bring this show back. We had a new format for it, and we were going to streamline it a little bit. And then listen, we got accosted today in both of our homes in the Takeover Tuesday studio by Johnny from In a Violent Nature, and he demanded that we speed up the process, and so that's why we're live tonight. A bit of a surprise for everyone. We kind of tried to warn everybody. This morning we posted a tweet from Exit Humanity, which was a surprise because there was a surprise coming, and of course tonight we posted in a half an hour before we went live, so hopefully everyone's tuning in. Of course, we'll let everyone know where the rebroadcast is. That goes up through Spotify and all the major streaming platforms, wherever you get your podcast. And we are trying a couple of things where we are going to hopefully get 90s Night onto its own sequencing as a podcast, because a lot of people reached out to us and said that they wanted to bring it with them when they're out for a walk in their car, that sort of thing. So we're trying to make that happen. And of course, we are bringing this series back to get to shine a little light on indie film and horror films out there, as well as all the people that work within the genre and within the industry. So when Johnny smashed down our door today and demanded that we interview him and get him on the air, we had no option. We had to do it. And so that's where we are today or tonight or whenever we are
right now at this immediate moment.
when you're listening to it right now. Of course, we are big shout out to our sponsors, of course, which is Deadly Grounds Coffee, Wellington Brewery, and Twisted Teas. Of course, I'm drinking a delicious SPA in my new Black Fawn Distro beer koozie. So let me just take a sip of this. Just delicious. And of course, this beer koozie, we had them at Shockstock. So big shout out to Shockstock. Had a blast down there when we went at the start of the month. But we've got new product on the way, new merch on the way, new titles on the way. So if you're curious and want to know what we're doing, there is a ton of stuff coming. Okay. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy or gal or whatever to say, hey, there's big news coming next week. There is stuff coming. We couldn't be more excited about it. And so keep your ear down to the ground. Follow us on Instagram. That's usually where we post most of our stuff right away. So that's where you'll get the inside scoop. And of course, check us out on all of our social media, which you can find at Black Fawn Distro on all the major platforms. Give us a follow, give us a like, tell us what you dig, what you don't, and make us a suggestion. If you have an idea for the show or anything like that, hit us up and let us know. Now, Kells, you are our resident mixologist. You always make a patented custom one-of-a-kind drink on our 90s night programs, a different drink every episode, and you took it upon yourself at machete point, right, or at rusted hook point, at gunpoint to make a drink tonight for tonight's show. What do you got?
Yeah, so I came up with this approximately 10 minutes ago. This is called the Cruel Lagoon in honor of In a Violent Nature. So it's this lovely kind of deep, murky blue color. This is a combination of black vodka, blue curacao, blue raspberry water flavoring stuff, and water, because, that's what a lagoon is made of. So I'm going to try it.
Okay.
And oh wow, that's actually really delicious. I've discovered that I can make mixed drinks just using like flavored water and just water. It's a game changer. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be a deadly thing for me.
Well, as always, we'll post a couple photos of the drink on our Instagram as well, and we'll put out the recipe. Right, you'll share the recipe like you just did.
That I will. Again,
one of Kells McNell's iconic traits now is that there is no measuring in the drinks. It's an eyeball pour, and that's what you get. So I
even have my spooky slasher glass too, which is just covered in knife points. So that I also did intentionally in honor of the special slasher that we shall be discussing today.
Fair enough. Now we haven't seen the film yet, so but we're going to get to that as to why, and we're going to do that in a couple seconds. But first, hey, we got to hit the news, which is now rebranded. It was rebranded last time. Do you remember what it's called?
No. Stop it. No.
New Thrills and Fresh Kills starts right now.
New Thrills and Fresh Kills.
Top story. Top story.
We'll give you the world. This may be the most important decision of your life.
Can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
You can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Top story.
Remember, we care. We care.
There are certain inherent risks that come with the territory.
Top story. Top story.
We'll give you the world.
Top story.
Okay. New kills.
Fresh
New
kills.
Thrills, Fresh Kills. See, you messed me up now because you couldn't remember. Now I can't remember it. So
it's some combination of those two things.
Listen, new Thrills and Fresh Kills, which is our news segment, brought to you by Deadly Grounds Coffee Company. Of course, love those guys operating out of Curtis, Ontario. But check out their new Schlockbuster blends. They've got a lineup of coffee blends, including Mega Destroyer, The Texorcist, and American Psycho. Super, super fun names. And of course, they've got a long line of other coffee blends that you can check out. So make sure you head over to deadlygroundscoffee.ca and use the discount code discount code, Takeover at the checkout and get 13% off your order. So if you are familiar with Deadly Grounds, they're amazing. They have some of the best coffee I've ever had. They are well worth your time and investment. Head on over to their site, check it out. They've always got discounts and deals going on, corresponding with the holidays that are upcoming. And their stuff is super, super fun. Zoe likes it too. So, hey, what can you do? All right. So let's get going. New thrills, fresh kills. Now, what do we got going on? We've got our top story, which is, hey, listen, we went to see Furiosa on the weekend, and it's our first movie. Isn't that our first movie that we've gone to? We've gone to a couple screenings, but I think it's our first.
Yes. Like a first in cinema, proper wide release movie that we've been to together.
Right. And we felt, hey, what better movie to go see than a Mad Max flick? And we decided, hey, listen, why don't we push the envelope a bit? Why don't we go and see it in 4DX, which is the new, it's like the every sense is what is it? I can't remember anyway, it's essentially everything is happening in the theater. So there's your seats are rollicking around. There's wind. There's supposed to be fog. It said that it was going to be rain, lightning, flashbangs, all this stuff. All this stuff is happening in the theater. So we were like, screw it. Let's go see Furiosa in this crazy theater. So we went on the weekend, and it was an experience for sure. I've got mixed thoughts about it. I've had some time to think about it. It was
about Furiosa or 4DX.
I'd say both. So we're not going to, no spoilers of the movie, because I know some people out there haven't necessarily seen Furiosa yet, but just heads up, go and see it. It's a good flick. It's definitely an entertaining ride. But we weren't sure how the seats were going to work, but we were like, okay, well, they're obviously going to work when you're in a car or a motorcycle or whatever. But it was pretty crazy. I almost felt like there was too much going on, because I did like it when if someone got punched, your seat would jolt around. I did like that, but there was some stuff where people were doing the most mundane things,
small things. It's just a look, and you'd be like, oh. It's I've never been more jostled in my entire life. I am going to say that much.
So we went with a couple other friends of ours, and there was one point, I gotta say this, there was one point where I looked over. I don't know why I was looking over. I think it's because I was almost falling out of my seat, and I looked over, and you guys were trying to drink drinks, and they were it's a bit crazy. Now I will say this. I think that because I saw a film that I hadn't seen before in it, I thought maybe I was a bit taken out of the film experience because I was trying to focus on where this wind was coming from, just all kinds of stuff. I think I love the experience. I think it's really cool. I do feel like we just discussed, too many jostlings
should
around.
Be used sparingly for most gracious effect,
right?
I would say.
And I think I would have more fun if I knew the movie. I feel if I went to see let's say Top Gun Maverick, or if I went to see
just Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road, something I've seen before, I would be like, oh, okay, man, this scene's going to be crazy. And it was really cool. But I will say there's a sequence in the film, of course, no spoilers, but there's a war rig sequence, much like the first movie, in Fury Road, but where there's there's an aerial component to it. And it was these things fly up, and as they fly up, all these gusts of wind were were coming at you, and then there was an explosion. I thought that sequence for me in 4DX was pretty awesome, and it was really like being on a roller coaster ride. There was a kid in front of us that kept jumping up in his seat because he was having such a good time. It was literally like being in a roller coaster with no seatbelt.
Yeah, just and honestly, I love a Mad Max. I love a Fury Road, and this I see Evan Jordan, my co-host for Click Click Punch Kick, our action podcast, is here. So hi, Evan. But this, in terms of action sequences, was the most insane thing, and I think I enjoyed seeing it, not knowing when to anticipate those thorough jostlings, because it made me that much more engaged with the action. I feel if I'd gone in and kind of expecting oh, and then this happens and then this happens, but the fact that I was sitting there holding my beverage, trying to, and just being thrown about as part of the experience, I got a kick out of that. I thought that was super fun.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say your partner came with us, and you did not tell him what he was getting into, right? Like you basically said, hey, you called me. I remember you, and you said, it'll be funnier if we just don't say anything. We'll just say it's like 4K or something. And I was like, okay, sure. And then we got there and we were taking all these photos outside. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, nah, it's just like, whatever. Like, and he had no idea. Like, we told him the seats were going to move. That's all we said. But I know, like, I know when the wind came in, I know he was like, whoa. So really, really fun if you can
trick someone into going with you and don't tell them what to expect. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. And, I wish I hadn't told him about the seats. I'm kicking myself for telling about that in advance. I just wanted to like mentally prepare him for that. But I feel like that would have been really hilarious to not tell someone to expect that, and then just like watching that happen, watching that discovery unfold would have been a treasure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, hey, Father's Day is coming up, and what better way to ruin Father's Day than take your or make Father's Day, take your dad to a awesome film in 4DX and not tell him,
surprise him.
Yeah, he'll think the roof's leaking, all this kind of fun stuff. Anyway, all right, moving on. I would be remiss in saying that we are on the road again. Black Fawn Distro will be heading down to Niagara Falls, going down to Niagara Falls Comic-Con June 7th, 8th, 9th, to check out Falls Horror Fest. We're not going to have a booth there this year. That's just because we actually don't have new titles right now. Again, they're coming, and we will have them later on in the summer. But we are going down to support the event, and you should as well. Yes. So check out the event, see if you can find us. We're going to be going around, obviously, a lot of the installs that they have there, cars and whatever, taking some snaps for the show, and it should be a pretty good time as well. I should say also, I forgot to say this off the top. I said we were going to kind of be a little bit loosey goosey tonight because we're under all this duress and all this stress from having to do this show at Machete Point.
Yep.
But if you have comments, if you have questions or anything like that, leave them down in the comment section below. What we're going to do is we're going to play we're going to do the interview that we did with Johnny. Afterwards, we're going to come back and we're going to answer any of your questions. So if you have questions about the show, if you have questions for myself or Kells, questions about Black Fawn Distro, questions about Takeover Tuesday, or questions about the movie and our guests and that sort of stuff, please let us know and leave them in the comments. We'll do our best to include you as part of the show, and of course, we'll try and answer them as well after the show is over if we don't get to them. But we will do our best. So down the comments section below.
Now?
What's that?
Should we throw in a couple comments right now? Just so we've got a couple coming through.
News section? It's never been done before.
We've got Evan. Hey, Evan, commenting live content.
Hey,
for what it's worth, he likes this. So thank you, Evan.
Awesome.
We've got Andrea. Hey. She also loves the glass being great. Thank you. Much appreciated.
What's up, Andrea? Thanks for tuning. I'm pumped that Andrea's tuning in right now.
Me too. Hi, Andrea. She also did a little zombie dance. Acknowledging that.
Right on.
Love it. And then we've got Karen saying, "Hey, Benner."
Oh, hey, Karen, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Amazing. Yeah. So, if you got questions about now, let's get to tonight's guest. Of course, our guest tonight is Johnny, quote unquote Johnny from In a Violent Nature. Joins us. He's going to be joining us to discuss his brutal new slasher and where you can watch it. And of course, I'm talking about Canadian acting legend Ry Barrett. Now, this is really, really funny because, and we addressed this in the interview. We had to pre-record the interview just because of, the background effects. I don't have those because I don't know. I'm one of the poors, I think. But I mean, listen, we talked to Barrett. We had to schedule it in because he's been doing press like crazy. Of course, he was the last guest on the program before we kind of came back with this incarnation of the show. So we didn't plan it like that. It just kind of happened. Sometimes the planets align. And
that's how the cookie crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles.
And of course, it was great to catch up with him again. And so much great stuff has been happening for the guy. I mean, he's like I've said numerous times, that guy's put in his dues. He's paid his dues, and he's put in the time to both work with a whole host of people in the Canadian genre film industry. And he's a legend. He'll never say that. You'll never hear him say that, but he is a friend of mine. As well as Chad, who's one of the other owners of Takeover and friends with a lot of people. So really, really pleased to have him and on the show. And of course, we haven't seen the film yet. So we were discussing what to do last weekend, and we've decided that we're going to go see the film hopefully in theaters.
Yes.
So we'll go check it out because we want to support it. It's going to theaters May 31st, this Friday. So make sure you put it on your calendar. Go check it out this weekend. And of course, it's coming out through IFC Films as well as Shudder. So we'll get to the interview with Barrett in just a second. But of course, we would be remiss if we didn't play the trailer. And you haven't seen the trailer because Kells doesn't watch trailers.
No.
But
I'm wondering, should I run away at this point? No, I'll lock myself in. I'll watch it. I'll do it.
All right. Well, again, guys, thanks everyone for tuning in. We are broadcasting live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and what am I missing there? I'm missing one. Like I used to have that, like
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, I guess. I don't know. Wherever you're catching us, we appreciate you tuning in. And of course, let's check out the trailer for In a Violent Nature. And right after it, we'll jump into the interview with Barrett. Of course, Kells, you weren't able to make that interview, so it's just myself going solo on it. But we'll see what he has to say about his new slasher. And then after that, we'll get into some comments and questions and that sort of thing from you, the audience. So leave them down below, and we'll make sure you're part of the program. Here we go. Check out In a Violent Nature from Shudder and IFC Films.
I'm not going to ask you again. You stay out of that park. But one of these days, you're going to find something that's going to walk right through your traps. Trust me, you don't want to find that animal.
You guys never heard of the White Pine Slaughter?
The what?
The White Pine Slaughter.
Just tell us the story.
You guys really want to hear it?
Yeah.
Come on. All right, buckle up.
Something's not right, man. Get it through your head. You don't know what you just did. It's the only thing holding his soul at rest.
Well, give it back.
You
How's
can't.
it going,
He's awake
man?
now. What are you waiting for? We're right here.
Ry Barrett. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. How's it going, man?
Good. Listen, likewise. Listen, we had you on Takeover Tuesday a while back. We were kind of just jump starting our interview series, which we're still kind of tweaking and still working on because we had another couple of programs sort of take off. But you were one of the last guests that we had. I figured, we wouldn't have you back on for quite a while. But some shit's happened since then. So congratulations on the new film, man. It's everywhere. I can't go anywhere and not see it right now online. So congratulations. You must be pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we're stoked.
Yeah,
Just
no
excited
doubt
for it to get out there for everyone to be able to see it too.
Yeah, so it's dropping in theaters, I think, in the US at the end of May 31st, I believe. Is there a release date for Shudder? I know it's coming out fairly shortly on the platform.
On the platform, it'll be. I don't think I'm allowed to say any exact date yet, but it'll be towards the end of summer.
Okay. So for all our viewers out there, if you're checking this out, keep an eye out for In a Violent Nature. It's the new film, obviously starring Ry Barrett, directed by Chris Nash. It'll be featured in theaters at the end of May, as well as coming out on Shudder sometime soon. But let's just say, sometime in 2024, near the end of the year or near the end of the summer, like Barrett just said. So I don't call this guy Ry because I've known him for so long. We call each other by our last names, and that's how it works around here up in Canada. But I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing about like what attracted you to the project. I know you're a huge horror fan. Clearly you got the call, but and picked up the phone. But I would want to say you're a working actor. Like you've put in your time. It's just so awesome to see you sort of on this kind of level of success. The film obviously premiered at Sundance, which is a huge deal. I see you everywhere as well. How did you get attached to this project? Like how did you was it just simply a phone call saying, hey, like Ry's and everything else, let's just give him a shout. We need a hulking, killer. Who are we going to give there's a short list of people you can call up here. How did you really sort of get connected to the project in the first place?
It was Shannon Hanmer, our one of our producers, contacted me, and it was I guess they had or what was it? There had been some talk ahead of time, I guess, and they were good. They'd gone through a few different people on the very first shoot that they had done, and in between there had been some talk, and they ended up just sending me an email, and then I met up in person with Chris and Shannon, and we just kind of talked it out, and they explained what the project was, and it was basically just that. And then we hung out a couple times, and Chris explained, and we watched some films with him and Peter, and they just kind of explained what it was. But that was, I think it was like, because me and Chris had worked on different things by proxy, like through the same people, and have known the same people. So everyone kind of was aware of what each other had done and stuff like that. So, I mean, I was stoked to get the call from them, because I was like, oh, these guys make amazing stuff. I love their work. I was aware of Chris's stuff for a while too. So it was just kind of a mutual knowledge of what we'd done. And then they explained the situation, and I was definitely up for it.
Right. So, and what was and where did you guys film again? Like, where was the project sort of principal photography? Where was that completed? Because you're kind of, I gotta say, like, it's pretty hilarious that it's a film that is so kind of entrenched in horror, but it's still it's in the woods, right? Like, and it's a hunting. It's for those of you who don't know and not familiar with the project, it's essentially the film is shot mostly from the killer's perspective, as opposed to the victims or whoever's hanging out in the woods, whoever that may be. And so it's kind of like, flips that on its head, flips it around. But you're still kind of shooting in the woods, and which is kind of like it's a throwback, right? Did that remind you of shooting like other films, or did it remind you of like is that something that sort of got you jazzed about the project, sort of being a bit of a throwback, but with a different twist?
Yeah. Like, so we shot, the majority of it was up in Sault Ste. Marie, or kind of just outside of Sault Ste. Marie. So way up north, and then in the middle of nowhere, kind of like, so Chris grew up in that area, so he knew all these great locations to go to and which places to use. And so we'd be in different kind of various different terrains that were all kind of in the same area, but it looked so different everywhere you went. And there's one other sequence we shot in the Kawarthas too. But I mean, being out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and there were some moments that it definitely reminded me of If a Tree Falls and both The Heretics. Those were two that kind of had some throwbacks and feeling of kind of being in the same place. And especially Heretics, the mosquitoes that we had to deal with, and black flies on some days, that were reminding me of a couple of days on that. Because I think we shot that probably around the same time of year, so right when all the bugs start to come out and attack the shit out of you.
Of course, like, why not, right? Why not?
Like, especially when you're dealing with blood and all that sweet cornstarch that's in there, and corn syrup, I mean. But yeah, it was fun to do that, because I love being in the woods and I love the outdoors, and it's beautiful. So it was really funny to be shooting out in this beautiful scenery, and then turn your head and there's this gnarly ripped up body right in front of you. Special effects. And yeah,
I mean, the cinematography is great. We're going to throw a couple of stills up on the screen here, just to kind of show people sort of the just where you kind of were at in filming this flick. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this, but of course, you guys have premiered at Sundance. The film's since sort of gone viral a bit. There's been some people that have had maybe some troubles with some of the kills and some of the screenings, as far as I've understood. What was the experience like going to Sundance? Because Sundance is sort of like, it's one of the pinnacles. I don't know if it's like the film festival to go to, but it's definitely one of the big three for sure. And something that, as filmmakers or film fans, everyone aspires to go to, hang out at Sundance. For yourself, and I know you felt that way too, because we've known each other for years and years and years. But what was that experience like? Was it a surreal experience kind of going down there? And especially for like this kind of flick, because it's like, you know, people kind of associate the fact that you're going to Sundance, it's got to be this dramatic, you know, piece, Oscar fair type thing. You're down there, you know, with a straight up genre slasher flick. How cool was that?
It was fucking amazing. And it's kind of exactly what you think, like what you just said too. It does feel like a dream. It's still like, I still think back about it. I'm just like, that's crazy. We were there for that. And we got to do all these crazy things and meet people and, you know, do the red carpet and press days, getting interviewed and walking into like the Duplass brothers there and like, you know, just random celebrities everywhere. And you kind of get imposter syndrome a little bit. Like I was at a brunch and I turned around and the cast of Love Lies Bleeding and the new Scream movies and Abigail are all sitting there like right behind me. And I'm just like, I don't think I belong. I'm in the wrong spot kind of thing. Right. So like just that aspect of it being such a surreal experience that was built up in my head too. Cause Sundance was always, for me, it was the festival that I've always wanted to go to the most. Like, I mean, there's TIFF here and because I think TIFF is closer, it's, you know, it's here. We've gone to screenings before and Con is always a big one too. Like that's one I still haven't gone to that I want to check out, but Sundance was always at the top of my list for some reason. I just always, I don't know if it's because of the films that were shot there and Robert Redford and that stuff growing up, watching that stuff, or just always being aware of it. And with the IFC channel watching and the Sundance channel, watching the films that have always played there and being aware of them.
I think it's got this like kind of mythical quality to it, right?
Yeah.
That it's sort of like, you know, you hear Sundance mentioned in other movies, right? Like about like, you know, that's the, you know, I know it was heavily featured on Entourage, for instance, and like other films about films, right? So I think maybe it has like this sort of like meta quality to it now. I don't know.
It does, yeah. And it's got like, yeah, there's something like, it feels like film makers and film lovers really kind of just like the idea of Sundance. I don't know if it's the setting or the films that play there or what, but it just always has this kind of, for me, it's always had that kind of feel. I know for other people too, but it was a surreal experience. And the screening itself was amazing. It was in a huge theater. We were sitting right at the back so we could kind of watch all the reactions and experiences from people and just sitting there. And that was the first time I'd seen the film too. So it was great to just kind of sit back and watch it with the entire audience and see how everyone was reacting and hitting all the beats and all the right moments. People were laughing at the right spots. They were grossed out at the right spots. So, I mean, all you can ask for in the first place is to get the chance to kind of be there, to go for that. And then have the audience to like accept it and get a kick out of it the way that it's intended is a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of like, you know, the viral component to this, obviously some people, it was reported throughout the, you know, the genre world as well as beyond that. Yahoo News, I think we've got some, as well as Dread Central, saying that one I don't think this was at Sundance, it was at another screening. Someone threw up in the theater because the kills are pretty gnarly in this film. Of course, Steve Kostanski doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, legend in his own right. Care to comment on this viral, this reporting that's going around saying that somebody threw up in the theater, and has that happened? Do you know of any other instances of that happening? Or
we were actually just talking to someone else who was actually at the screening, in the Chicago screening where that happened, and they hadn't seen it.
So it was in Chicago.
They heard people talking about it, and somebody went to go clean it up, and it wasn't there. So they thought that maybe somebody threw up into a bucket or like a popcorn bag or something. But I've read a couple of comments and stuff, and I was either on Letterboxd or just a comment on one of the articles where somebody was like, "I was there, I saw it happen, and it was in Chicago." And there was other people who were like, "Oh yeah, I saw it happen. It was definitely set up." And it's like, I don't think any of us kind of know about it, so it's just what it is reported, I guess. And whoever, maybe we'll see a video of the person who actually tossed cookies.
Hey, listen, if you know who they are, we'll be happy to have them on the show. We'll do a full we'll do a full debrief. The reason I was asking is because we obviously did we did the marketing for Bite. and that sort of thing years ago. And we had the same thing happen at Fantasia Film Festival.
I remember
and,
that. Yeah.
And I can tell you this, if people are saying like, oh, it was set up and whatever, when you're doing a screening like that, there's so much going on that you don't really have time to kind of do that, to be honest. And because again, like if you do try and set something like that up and it doesn't work, like let's say it just it just fails, like it's awful, right? So it's too much of a risk. I'll tell you this right now, it's too much of a risk to do. And also you don't really have time to do that when you're doing a big screening and you got cast there and you're trying to get everyone seated and stuff like that. There's just too much going on. So no doubt in my mind that like I think that's probably a real reaction to the visceral nature of the film. And the reason I figured that you might appreciate this segue, but of course Bite was directed by Chad Archibald, our good friend. You guys grew up together. He did have a question. He couldn't make this interview, but he did have a question for you, and he said congratulations on everything, of course. But his question was, have you ever sat down and figured out your kill count, both as the character in this film as well as potentially your whole career? Have you ever figured out how many people you've killed on screen?
No, no, I don't even know how many times I've died actually on screen either, too, which is quite a few. For the kill count for this one, I guess it'd be like I can 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, get out your pens.
It's around 8. I want to say 7 or 8 that you see. But then there's definitely body counts from before this film begins too. So
right,
yeah.
So we need some more definitive limitations as far as or some criteria.
I have to sit down and figure that out. That might take a little bit, but I have to sit down and actually figure that out. It's awesome. Probably not as much as Kane Hodder, that's for sure.
Yeah. And just for clarity for our viewers out there too, you've never killed anybody in real life either. It's just only on screen kills. Just got to clarify that for the old YouTube, right?
I don't think I can actually disclose that at this moment.
Yes. Okay, so let me talk about. I'll let you go. I know you got a lot of interviews to do today, because this movie, like I said before, In a Violent Nature, premiering on Shudder sometime in 2024, but obviously also hitting theaters May 31st. And I don't know. Is that in? Sorry, do you know if that's in North? Is that just in the U.S. or is that in Canada as well? Like, is it playing anywhere in Canada?
It will be opening in Canada. Too, as far as I know right now, it's May 31st in Toronto, and then it'll be expanding after that weekend. But I don't know 100% on that. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll just
information.
Loosey goosey. If you see it advertised and it's got a screening, go to it. Go and support both independent cinema, independent films, independent actors and actresses, as well as all the crews and everybody else working behind the scenes. It means a lot as well. Just like let's hope for some more films like this to kind of take off, because I think it really does the whole community a really great service to see something like this kind of have the run that it's currently on. And it's nowhere near from being over either. I gotta say, like, all the stuff that you were doing promotional wise, how much fun, like it was you in the suit, right? Like you dressed up in the costume of Johnny, who's the killer in the film, stalking around different cities, like lumbering into wherever, like theaters and that sort of stuff. How much of that have you done? Like, how much of that has been you, and how much fun have you had doing it?
That's all been me. There's the odd picture that somebody might have for just like for a promotional thing that somebody might have taken a shot, like the New York one that we're about to do. There's a behind the scenes photo where that's somebody else. But all of the walking stunts, all of the promotional stuff, that's been me in the suit. So we did that at Sundance and we did it in New Orleans, and we're doing it again in New York. And it's a lot of fun.
And that's because you can't be everywhere, right? Like they can't fly you into the city and do a shot and then come back out again unless you're there already, right?
Like if they need to do something for a promotional photo just for that, or just to advertise, something or something like that, then they'll have to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, if I can be there in person at any of these events and stuff and do it, I definitely will be there, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people who wanted to get photos. And it was funny at Sundance because nobody really knew who Johnny was yet. There's wanted posters up, and like some people knew, but it was more of an interesting thing to just get photo ops and stuff at that moment. And then, but at New Orleans, people were recognizing Johnny at that point. So it was a fun thing to be walking down like Bourbon Street and down these epic places. And I walked into a horror trivia that the Overlook Film Festival was hosting, and I got to scare Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel. So like while I was in costume, so I like getting to do crazy stuff like that is just completely, out of the blue, and wasn't expecting it. So it's just an added cherry on top.
Yeah, big shout out to Mike Flanagan too. Huge supporter of genre and horror, and a great filmmaker in his own right.
Oh.
So I wanted to just go back real quick just to talking about, like, obviously it's really easy to do that because you've been playing this character on screen and had like sort of you've got it fully mapped out, right? It's really just you're walking through the motions when you're kind of in costume, going around these different promotional shoots and just scaring people, like amazing, super fun. When you were on set though, like how much input did you have into the character, like into like how he moves, how he reacts, because again, you're a student of the game. You've been watching horror most of your adult life, if not all of your adult life, if not most of your entire life. Did you have input into kind of how the character, like those little sort of those little character, tweaks and that sort of stuff? Like, did you have input onto that, or was it kind of already, did Chris Nash already kind of have a really clear vision as to kind of what he wanted on the screen?
Nash, I mean, he had a pretty clear vision right off. A very clear vision too. And a big part of it is because of the way that the kill scenes and the effects are designed, and the whole timing of the movie kind of has to, there's all puzzle pieces that all kind of have to fit together. So like knowing that, and then also he did want me to have my own kind of character and be my own thing. And I think a lot of that physicality just comes from the person in the suit. But then I had rules that I gave myself to do every single time I was, about to suit up as Johnny. We were about to roll, that I would kind of keep in mind and keep in place, which, and there was a lot of little nods to classic stuff, but then without trying to copy them or to be one or too much of one thing or the other.
Right.
So
yeah, totally.
Like a lot of it was timing and pacing, and that was a big thing with Chris, just so we could we knew how the edits were going to go, and we knew if he was motivated for like a kill moment, Johnny would go into overkill mode and he'd be a lot faster and fluid. And then but I mean, a lot of the movie just designates what Johnny's going to be doing, and then I kind of did what I tried to put my own kind of flavor in there when I could, and not take away from what it had to be.
Right. Awesome. Well, listen, my friend, thank you for making the time. I'm going to try and get you back out onto some more press. But dude, it's just so awesome to see this level of success that you're achieving with this film. It's well deserved. I know it happens to people overnight sometimes, but I also know that there's a lot of people out there that have really put in all the time, all the grit, all the working, all kinds of productions, and you've paid your dues, my friend. So it's awesome for us to see, and I love opening up my Instagram or my feeds and just seeing all this stuff kind of flowing into it. I didn't know too much about the project originally, and then I just saw all this stuff and I was like, what's going on? And then I was it was just like premiering at Sundance, and I was like, premiering at Sundance, like, so it was like it's been,
that was me too. I was thinking the exact same thing when Nash called me up and told me. I was like, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I called you on April 1st too, right? But no, I mean, it's fantastic to see, man. So thanks so much for taking the time for us as well. And of course, I'm pretty sure I don't want to, I am going to commit her to this because I don't care. But like Kells McNell is typically my co-host for Takeover Tuesday in our 90s Night series. Couldn't make this today, but I think she's going to review the film on Streams and Screams whenever it hits Shudder. So look out for that. And if anybody else out there, if you love horror, if you like indie films, please go and give this film a shot. It's dropping in theaters May 31st, and of course hitting Shudder sometime in 2024. No release date as of yet, but probably near the end of the summer. This year sometime. Just keep your eyes peeled. We'll let you know when it's on Shudder, and then
it'll be good timing. It'll be good timing. Bro.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Ry Barrett, thanks, buddy. I really do appreciate it. And again, wishing you all the best with the film. And I hope you continue. I wish you continued success with this film and everything else that you're working on beyond this, man.
Thanks, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Take care. We'll see you soon.
Fawn Distro. Movies, merchandise, available now at blackfawndistribution.com.
Okay, hey, and we're back, and hey, thanks everyone for checking out the interview with Ry Barrett. Of course, a big thanks to him and the IFC and Team Shutter crew over there that hooked us up with that interview. Thanks so much, guys. Really, really do appreciate it. And it was great to interview one of our longtime supporters of both the company and the show. Really cool to get some time to spend with him and talking to him about friggin' Sundance and stuff, right? So, awesome. Kells, what do you think of? Are you hyped for this movie yet, or what?
I'm very hyped for this movie. I've heard nothing but great things, and I love a good slasher, but I love a good slasher with a little bit of a twist to it. And it sounds like this has that in spades. So yeah, you already committed me to reviewing it for Streams and Screams, which
see what I did there?
100% I will. So you know what? That's all good. You're right. I 100% will do it. So that's something I'm very excited to check out.
Yeah, I figured you would, right? So I felt it wasn't a hard commitment. So I didn't feel I was putting you out there too much.
But can I see it in theaters now? Do I have to wait for streaming and screaming?
See, I was hoping you weren't going to say that, because at the time we recorded the interview with Barrett there a couple weeks ago. I mean, a couple of things have happened. I don't know. I think we should. I think we should make the effort, because
second date.
But yeah. yeah. So I can confirm too that it is playing at looks like Scotiabank Theatre in Toronto. I did check this during the break here, as well as Oakville, out of all places. Looks like it's got a few showings there. So that's opening up on May 31st. That's this Friday. Check it out there. And then I guess it's going to maybe open up into other markets, secondary markets after that, or just expand the release. Of course, it's in theaters in the States as well. And again, it's directed by Chris Nash. It's being obviously put out by IFC Films and Shutter, and of course starring Ry Barrett. So what better way you could do?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Is it a good combination of many things?
Yeah, exactly. And lots of other people worked on the project too. And so I think we should go and see it, because you know what? Like we just spent some cash to go see Furiosa and like 8DX or whatever, right? So like I feel like we can figure it out. We can figure once it's close, and we'll go check it out. And then of course we won't review the film, but you can review the film on Streams and Screams once it hits Shutter, whenever that is. How about that?
Yes. Okay, that sounds like a plan.
All right, cool. Now, this is part of the show. Again, new format. So we're getting to your comments, questions, anything you have for myself or Kells, anything about the show, the company, anything like that, we can help answer. But of course, we wanted to talk about the film too, and just kind of after the interview, have some time to kind of process a couple things and chat about it. One of the reasons for that is because a lot of people have super busy schedules, and of course, it's harder to lock people down on a live Tuesday night. Because everyone's so busy now. And that it wasn't like a couple of years ago where everyone was just sitting at home eating potato chips and watching reruns of like Tiger King and stuff. But like, it's different now. It's a different world.
Lives again.
Yeah. So what we decided to maybe if we do a live interview with someone, we definitely will.
Yes.
But in the event that we can't and we have to do something pre-recorded, we will, because we actually do really want to talk to a lot more people than we have, and kind of bring you guys, the audience, just a little bit closer to kind of the filmmaking process and the stories behind the sets and films that get made. We feel that's interesting. Cool. That's kind of what we're into. But if you have a suggestion for the show, please let us know. You can obviously email us at takeover@blackfawndistribution.com, or hit us up on Instagram, or drop us a line in the comments, and we'll see what we can do, and we'll put something together. Now, I did want to talk about, as part of the show, some of the marketing that they've done for this film has been pretty great. So I did want to just, we'll get to the viral thing in a second, obviously, with the theater,
projection in
the theater.
Yeah.
Well played. But I just wanted to throw up some of these lobby cards that are just like absolutely fantastic. They've kind of gone
so like, I Spit on Your Grave, like Last House on the Left. Like that's a very, very well done artwork there.
Yeah, and they've just kind of I'll just throw up a couple here that they've really put in some time into this. I think they really understand what they've got here. That's always a benefit for any time you're kind of promoting a film or any project for that matter. Put the time in and just like keep pressing, because I mean some of the stuff is kind of what people want to see. And like, of course, the taglines, the quotes here are they've really come out of the reviews and the and the film festivals that the films played, but now it's going out to general audiences and going out to people at home. So it's pretty cool to see like this kind of like this sort of detail and understanding of projects. I see a lot of projects come out sometimes, and I just don't I'm just like, man, the marketing team is so not on the same page as like the creative team that kind of put together the film. And so I think this is really nice to see something that's so high profile right now. I'm talking genre. Like, I mean, obviously, it doesn't have like, mega stars. It wasn't made for $100 million, but it's really nice to see something sort of come out where it really does feel like all the pieces are together for this to have a really cool run.
Yeah, it's not Mithrigan in terms of like the scope of. I will never call it Megan. It's always Mithrigan. I'm sorry, but Mithrigan. The movie Megan. It's just I can't help myself. But in terms of like the understanding the assignment when it comes to the marketing, I feel like again the marketing team really did understand the assignment on this film, because those title cards, those lobby cards are just so, again, like I mentioned, very early Wes Craven, very like Last House on the Left, very like I Spit on Your Grave, like that very kind of retro feel to them, which I think goes so well with that film. From what I understand, haven't seen it yet, but it looks amazing. And I'm very excited because I love anything that has a really good kind of slasher story to it. And I will say, I saw Ry had posted a reaction video of a screening where he like filmed the audience's reaction during the one pivotal scene that evidently caused that projection. And hearing the audience reaction to it made me so excited, because I love anything that elicits that like like I don't know. There's something about me that just loves hearing that visceral reaction and human suffering. I dig that. So I'm very excited to see that movie.
Human suffering. I love how you snuck human suffering in there.
I like what I like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, demonetized. Well, listen, before we get to let's talk about the projections in the theater, because but before we do, let's get some comments. Of course, we want to keep this section of the show open for any of you out there listening that want to you might be listening on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or X, formerly known as Twitter, also known as just Twitter. And any other platform. Leave us your comments. Let us know what you thought about the interview. Kells, what do you got over there as far as comments go? You got some people piping in?
That's a good question. I've got from Chris, Merchant Shock Sock, got the cozy. See us on the road. Cheers.
Oh, nice. Cheers, my friend.
Got the koozie. From Andrea, we miss you too. And I love the Dante emoji there. That's very nice. Lovely.
Oh, is that really? I couldn't. Oh, nice. Okay.
I believe that is. I absolutely. Evan
is Andrea's dog, for everyone who doesn't know. I think there's a dedicated Instagram. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Anyway, he's the funniest dog of all time. That dog is amazing. So awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, Dante.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Evan supports my no trailers. Thanks, Evan. I support the support.
Boo. I disagree.
Karen lives in the woods now. She's scared to go out at night. I don't blame you, because, hearing some things outside there, not the best way to spend your evening. And then Chris, again, looking forward to the killer film drop.
Cool. Yeah, we are too. It's coming soon. Yeah. It's coming soon. We're definitely trying to, we're just trying to get everything set up properly. And it's just taking a lot of work and stuff, but we've got a lot of really cool projects coming up. And
we've got plans.
We've got designs. We got blueprints on this mother. It's a little Dusk Till Dawn throwback. If you haven't seen
90s night,
it's one of the episodes we did for our 90s night, Kells, which you can actually check out exclusively on our YouTube. And one thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get 90s night set up as its own sort of designated podcast as well, so we can broadcast that to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever, so you can check it out on the go. But if you haven't, make sure you check it out on YouTube. It's available now. And you know what? Just like that, I've actually got a graphic. There you go. From Dusk Till Dawn, 90s Night. I believe that was episode 7 that we did. And now we're up to episode 12. And speaking of which, we just actually did Halloween in May with the awesome Casey Ferguson of the Casey Ferguson Show. Yes. And we were doing that for a couple of times, or a couple of weekends. We've got another weekend coming up where we're contributing some content, and we got asked to contribute some different 90s Nights episodes, and we've got 2 more coming up. You can only hear them there, but we are actually going to put them on our YouTube as well. But we actually did The Amazing Candyman, which we had a lot of fun doing. And of course, we also did as a tie-in to the show, because it was that show was the weekend Halloween May was sponsored by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. We did Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So if you're listening, Heather Buckley, you'll want to tune in to that episode and then let us know everything that we didn't say and everything we got wrong.
Yeah, that was a first time watch for me, so that was super exciting to experience that chaos
of
Leatherface. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, and have you not seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4?
I have. I don't know how I missed 3. I've seen like 1, 4, but I had missed 2 and 3 somehow. I don't know how it happened, but yeah, the 4th one is a special kind of something. I will say that much. Incredible cast, amazing cast, but it's we selected correctly, I think, for that choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think really fun to do. And also as well, we weren't originally going to do Candyman either, which was the other episode we did, and we just decided why don't we do Candyman? It's nice.
That's what we can talk
about.
Both
love it. It's got awesome performances, awesome musical score. And it's one we hadn't really revisited in a while, and I just got it on 4K. So what else is going on? What else do we want to let people know about?
We continue to do things in places that you can watch those things in those places.
Right. A couple updates on a couple of things. One is that your Streams and Scream show is awesome. It's doing phenomenally well.
Hooray.
No changes to that. Everything is going according to plan, because Kells is doing it and I'm not doing it. But the other less popular show, which is called Benner's Movie Reviews, which I blame other people for it
not the title.
Not the title. And definitely not the person doing the reviews. It's outside forces for sure. But what we've decided is I'm actually going to turn that into more of a 4K review show. And a couple reasons for that. One is that we could just never get clearances for the trailers. We love including the trailer in everything that we do. I think it just kind of gives people now I know you guys are #NoTrailerGang, blah, 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 blah. But like, I really do feel context. Yeah, sure. But I like playing the trailer. I like seeing a trailer and being like, hey man, this is the trailer. It's your promotional tool. Okay. And I don't want to go on a bit of a rant here, but it's your promotional tool. Sure. You make a few bucks off it. Just let all the podcasts use the trailer at least. I mean, because you can cut up the trailer and take out the audio and that's fine, but you can't play the trailer. Now, I will say a lot of studios are really good for that, and they just understand that people are trying to promote movies. We're trying to promote film, theater,
their movies,
flicks, whatever you want to call them, in a positive light. And that goes into something we also had a bit of a conversation before where we kind of said that we weren't going to review, like if we didn't like a flick, we wouldn't review it, right? And I think I think we're gonna stick to that. Let us know if you think that's right or wrong. But I mean, I've seen some bad flicks lately, but I've also seen some good ones, and I actually just want to put my time into reviewing cool flicks rather than just the really bad ones. But so if you don't see us reviewing a flick, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we don't have time, maybe we haven't seen it, or maybe we just didn't like it. So
we can't see everything.
Let us know if we're on the right track for that. So that's what Benner's Movie Reviews is going to be. It's going to be more of a kind of a 4K base show, and there's lots of stuff I've picked up recently. Such as Monster Squad. I picked up Natural Born Killers. I picked up The Crow. So, I mean, there's lots of stuff that I've got my hands on, and hopefully I'll be able to do some cool reviews on those shows and maybe include the trailer. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed.
Time will tell.
We're coming up on the hour mark. Is that all we got? I think so, right?
I think so.
No,
yeah.
We got to talk about the viral thing. I almost forgot.
Oh yeah. The thing that absolutely was not planned. Because like that's the thing, is everyone always assumes it was planned. But like you said in the interview, like that would require a lot more time, effort, and energy, that it wouldn't actually make sense to do that for the film, to like plan out a fake vomit.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things too, and people like someone will know, right? But I mean, I think it's like, again, I mean, horror is not for everyone, but it's also awesome. I mean, again, like you just have to appreciate that the fact that it's getting some traction here. I mean, like Dread Central has reported it. I'm just going to throw up a couple of screenshots here. So, So they were reporting as well as a couple of other sites as well, and I mean, I think they it's like this one, Cinema Blend, carried by Yahoo News, nice 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting more traction, which is great. Say what you will about Rotten Tomatoes, if you like it, don't like it, or whatever, it does still give you sort of a bit of a gauge as to what the audience is thinking out there, or what the critics are thinking. And also as well, like I do feel like it's just it's still a piece of marketing that you can use if it's real. You can take that a bit further, and if it's not, it just, especially for horror, I think horror fan bases are smarter than the
average bear.
Well, I wasn't going to say average bear, but definitely, I think then the general media gives them credit for, right? I think I think people don't quite understand. What I'm getting at is sort of stuff like box office, right? They're like, I don't know if anybody watches horror movies, and yet consistently, like, horror movies perform well at the box office. They make money, they do well for their investors, and people go and see them. There's a rabid fan base out there that'll support most projects because they know the work that goes into them. Most Hollywood actors, directors, and who's who of Hollywood royalty as far as filmmakers and actors and actresses basically got their start in horror, and have made really, really great careers out of the genre. So I feel like, when this stuff happens, I think it's great for the genre. I think it's great for the industry. And again, I think that why wouldn't it be real, right? Like, I mean, it's I think if you look back on marketing for, let's even The Exorcist, when people couldn't watch the movie, they were like leaving the film halfway through and couldn't get through it and stuff. You just latch onto that, you put it out there, and see who runs with it. But like I said, I mean, we were at the Bite screening, and yeah, I mean, like, I know what happened there. I was in the theater. I couldn't quite tell because it was, obviously you're in the theater, it was dark, but like, obviously the like the film festival let us know what was happening after the screening and stuff, and it just kind of took off. And I can say, you're running around, you're trying to get people in, you're trying to figure out who's there, what the guest list is, like, trying to seat people and all that stuff. You don't really have a lot of time to kind of figure out a bunch
orchestrate.
I mean, not really. So
no. And then you got to find fake vomit, and like, there's only so many joke stores open after 9 p.m.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, what? How many joke stores have you been to?
I don't know, like maybe at least 2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, listen.
Not after 9 p.m. though.
Not after 9 p.m. Yeah, you've gone to joke stores before, and they've been closed, and that's been a very big disappointment. So, anyway, on that hilarious note, thanks everyone for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Of course, we were broadcasting live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I have to figure out how I said that before, so I'll have to go back and listen to a previous episode. I thought that was the least of my problems tonight. And of course, we're rebroadcasting to all the major streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that jazz. So check us out on there. And of course, if you have questions or suggestions, hit us up on Instagram at Black Fawn Distro. And of course, go follow Ry Barrett too. Johnny from Inner Violent Nature. Follow him at Ry Barrett. He's got lots of cool press stuff that he's featuring on his Instagram of the current project, but also he does push a lot of other films. Every film that he's working on, he gives a really cool insight. And he is like one of the he is definitely like a lover of film, and I think those are the people you want to follow if you're trying to get into film. If you just like the genre, if you just like the format and not the format. What am I trying to say? The art,
medium.
The art. Thank you. The medium. Yeah. The medium.
He keeps it real.
He keeps it real, and that's who you want to follow on your Instagram. You don't want you want your feed to be filled with like creative people and cool people,
joy, and creepy joy.
Enjoy stuff, and then if you want to follow creepy people, you just follow Kells McNeil. So right, human suffering,
human suffering, and alcohol. Apparently, that's my namesake.
On that note, if you want the recipe for Kells's drink, what was it called again?
The Cruel Lagoon, which is a take on the Blue Lagoon.
We'll throw it up on our Instagram tomorrow. Check it out on Instagram at Black Fawn Distro. I'm your host Benner. My co-host is of course Kells McNeil's.
With a blue tongue. Until
next time, check us out on 90s Night. Check out our YouTube and give us a shout if you have anything to anything to let us know about. And of course, we'll take your suggestions honestly. And if we can incorporate things into the show or feature anything on the show, we definitely will. Thank you for the thumbs up. Again, you have the better computer system than I do. But listen, I control some of the stuff over here. So here's the exit. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. And that does it for another episode of Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe, and help us spread the word about the program and our incredible guests. If you're interested in grabbing some more information about Black Fawn Distribution or want to check out our film titles and merchandise, you can find us online at blackfawndistribution.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course, Black Fawn Distribution. Just a reminder, you can always catch Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday live on Facebook, YouTube, and our other social media platforms. Or pick up one of our retransmissions on any of the major streaming platforms. Until next time, I'm your host Benner from Black Fawn Distro, and we'll see you soon.